No masked men, no alarms, just millions gone, vanished through digital cracks in a system built to be foolproof. The thief? Not a hacker, but a quiet employee in a cubicle. He didn't break in, he found a key everyone else missed. Money leaked out, disguised as routine expenses. No one noticed. He turned the company's own rules against itself. The biggest threat wasn't outside, it was already inside. By the time they saw it, it was too late. His name was Kenji Tanaka. Not an executive, not a manager, just a senior data analyst. He'd been with Omnicorp for over a decade. Reliable, quiet, meticulous, a numbers guy. He faded into the background, the model employee. Kenji's job gave him a unique perspective. He wasn't moving money, but he could see everything. Read-only access to vast databases. Every wire transfer, every payment, every credit and debit. Like a security guard with all the monitors but no keys. He was trusted because his role was seen as passive. He lived modestly, old car, small apartment, no signs of wealth. By day, the diligent analyst. By night, he studied the systems he worked with. He wasn't just doing his job, he was reverse engineering Omnicorp's financial apparatus, searching for a flaw, a tiny crack in the armor. His access was the key. Most companies create silos, finance, IT, analytics, but Omnicorp blurred those lines for holistic insight. They gave Kenji a map of the entire kingdom. They never imagined he'd use it to find a secret passage into the treasury. They believed knowledge alone was harmless. They were about to learn a very expensive lesson. Kenji's knowledge was his weapon. He was the man in the machine, and he was about to change everything. All it took was patience and a plan. The perfect crime was about to begin, and no one would see it coming, not until it was far too late. Kenji was ready. Kenji didn't stumble onto the loophole, he hunted for it. Nights and weekends he pored over system documentation, searching for a blind spot. He found it in the vendor payment and reconciliation system, a boring, overlooked corner. When Omnicorp paid a vendor, a payment file was generated, sent to the bank, and then a reconciliation file updated the ledgers. The loophole was in the timing and automation. Small, recurring payments under $5,000 were processed automatically. The reconciliation module was old, bolted onto a newer platform. It would accept a manually uploaded reconciliation file without checking for a real payment. As long as it was marked as a miscellaneous vendor expense and under the threshold, the system trusted any reconciliation file it received. It couldn't imagine a file that was pure fiction. Kenji realized he didn't need to initiate a payment. He could just tell the system a payment had already been made. He could create a fake reconciliation file, upload it, and the system would mark the payment as complete. The books would balance, but the money would be waiting to be claimed. This was the glitch, the ghost in the machine. Kenji had found his crack in the armor. Now he just needed to exploit it. The perfect hiding place for a perfect crime, and no one was watching. Not yet. Kenji's plan was simple. No big transfers, just thousands of tiny ones. He set up dozens of shell corporations with official-sounding names, each with its own bank account. Every day, he created small batches of fake reconciliation files, each for about 4,500. He uploaded them as routine system maintenance. The system processed them automatically, debiting Omnicorp's books. But the money hadn't gone anywhere. Yet, the accounting system showed a credit due to Omnicorp for overpaying a vendor that didn't exist. To balance the books, the system generated a payment order to refund the overpayment, right to Kenji's shell company. The money was moved in a three-step process, disguised as routine corrections. He spread the transfers across hundreds of cost centers, marketing, facilities, IT. These small amounts were statistical noise, rounding errors in massive budgets. No manager would notice a missing $4,500. Over 2 years, Kenji initiated over 2,200 fraudulent transactions, a drip, 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 eventually totaling over $10 million. It was death by 1,000 cuts, and no one felt a thing until it was too late. Where were the auditors? The internal controls? They were looking in the wrong place. Security was built to stop big threats, million-dollar wires, data breaches, major irregularities. Kenji's scheme was designed to be insignificant, each transaction too small to trigger alerts. Financial camouflage. Specialization and diffusion of responsibility blinded everyone. Finance saw routine corrections. Managers saw only summary reports. IT saw an analyst running data scripts, normal. No one had the full picture. Trust was the lubricant, and the vulnerability. Kenji was a 10-year veteran, meticulous and reliable. No one suspected him. Auditors used sampling, thousands of transactions, almost no chance of catching one of Kenji's. Even if they did, it looked like a clerical error. The system was built to catch whales. Kenji was a school of piranhas. Kenji knew the crime wasn't complete until the trail was gone. He embedded fraudulent uploads within legitimate data jobs, hiding in the noise. He never accessed the system from home, never used his own computer. All activity was from his work terminal during work hours. He kept his lifestyle modest, no red flags. The money sat untouched in shell company accounts. Every day he risked discovery, but he was disciplined. He even planned for eventual discovery, scripts to wipe logs if needed. He was always 3 moves ahead. Not just a thief, a master of digital deception. He built a fortress of anonymity right in the heart of Omnicorp, and no one saw the ghost in the machine. After 2 years, Kenji had over $10 million across a dozen shell company accounts. It was time for the exit. He couldn't just spend the money. It could be traced. He waited for the company's annual holiday shutdown. Minimal monitoring, empty offices. He transferred the money to overseas banks, then into cryptocurrency. He had a new identity, a one-way ticket, and a plan to disappear. The week before the break, he executed his final uploads and pushed another $200,000 through. He triggered a logic bomb, code to corrupt specific log files, erasing evidence. On his last day, he left a resignation letter and a brief email. No one suspected a thing. Kenji walked out for the last time, a ghost fading into the city. He had the money, a new identity, and a plane ticket. It seemed he'd pulled off the perfect crime. Or had he? For 6 weeks, no one at Omnicorp noticed a thing. Then came the annual audit. A young auditor noticed a tiny anomaly, miscellaneous expenses slightly higher than usual. He dug deeper, found thousands of small payments just under the $5,000 threshold. Too uniform, too frequent. He traced them. No original payment requests, only manual reconciliation files. All uploaded by one user, K. Tanaka. The issue was raised and an internal investigation began. Kenji had resigned just before the holidays. A red flag. Forensics recovered fragments of the corrupted logs. The shell companies were all linked to Kenji. The slow drip had become a flood. Omnicorp froze the accounts, but only $700,000 remained. The rest was gone. Wired overseas, converted, vanished. Kenji Tanaka was gone. An international warrant was issued, but he was a ghost. He was never caught. The perfect crime had become the perfect escape, and the company was left stunned. Kenji Tanaka's heist is a chilling lesson for any organization. Omnicorp had all the tools, firewalls, algorithms, auditors, but it was an illusion of control. They focused on external threats, forgetting the insider. Their biggest vulnerability wasn't code, it was complacency. No one imagined a trusted analyst could orchestrate such a crime. Controls were built for finance, not for data analysts manipulating the system from the side. The lesson: trust, but verify. Use analytics to spot unusual patterns, even in small transactions. The data had the answers. They just weren't asking the right questions. In the end, Omnicorp wrote off the loss, overhauled controls, but the damage was done. Kenji Tanaka proved that with knowledge, patience, and discipline, any system can be beaten. Sometimes the perfect crime isn't about breaking down walls, it's about finding the one unlocked door and walking right through it.